The text hit my phone like a slap across the face. Diane, Mom. We're busy with Ryan's launch party tonight. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where are you from and from which city you're watching our videos. And after watching the whole video, don't forget to tell us what would you do in this situation. Be honest. Tell me in the comments below. We read every comment. Let's begin. I stared at the screen, my thumb frozen above the glass. Busy. That was her excuse for forgetting my anniversary? My stomach twisted, but before I could even react, another message appeared. Diane. Dinner costs went to your card. I see. Throat went dry. My eyes darted to the clock, 7:02 p.m. On the one night that should have been about Mark and me, my mother was celebrating my brother and billing me for it like I was their personal bank. I typed one word, my fingers trembling. Okay. Mark walked out of the kitchen, his sleeves rolled up, hair slightly damp from the shower. He stopped dead when he saw my face. Julia, what happened? Wordlessly, I handed him my phone. His eyes narrowed as he read the messages, his jaw flexing hard. He set the phone on the counter with a sharp clack, like it burned to touch. They charged you for it? On our anniversary? His voice was low, furious. I forced a laugh that cracked halfway through. Guess my wedding day didn't earn a place on their calendar. But Ryan's party? That gets the full spread. On my dime. Mark's hand curled into a fist on the countertop. Julia, enough is enough. They've humiliated you too many times. Tonight, we take back control. I blinked at him. What do you mean? His eyes flicked with something I couldn't place. Calm, calculating, almost dangerous. He leaned close, speaking just above a whisper. Trust me. By tomorrow morning, they'll wish they never sent that text. I swallowed hard. Something about the way he said it made my heart race. Mark, what are you planning? He only gave a small, chilling smile. You'll see. That night, long after the party was over, a video appeared online. Posted by Mark, shared within minutes. And when I saw what it contained, I felt the ground shift beneath me. The glow from Mark's phone screen lit up the room as I sat on the edge of our bed, twisting the strap of my dress between my fingers. He hadn't told me what he was planning, just that calm, razor-sharp promise. They'll regret it. When I finally heard his footsteps, I looked up. He had that same unreadable expression, like every move was calculated. Mark, I whispered. What did you do? He held out his phone. See for yourself. My breath caught. On the screen was a video. High quality, polished, the kind of thing no one could scroll past. But it wasn't about us. It was about them. The footage showed Ryan's launch. Party in all its glittering excess. The chandeliers dripping gold, the servers in black and white uniforms, the endless champagne glasses lined up like soldiers. But over the luxury, Mark had layered something powerful. A running tab of the costs. Every bottle of champagne, every catered dish, every bouquet of imported flowers. Numbers climbing on the screen, thousands piling into tens of thousands. And then, at the bottom, the charge hitting my name, Julia Bennett. I pressed a hand to my mouth. You, Mark. You exposed them. He didn't flinch. I showed the truth. They made you their wallet, and now the whole world knows it. Within an hour, the video had spread like wildfire across social media. The comments were brutal. Imagine using your daughter's money to throw a party for your son. Disgusting. Ryan's success looks bought, not earned. Poor Julia. The fact her mom did this on her anniversary? Evil. My pulse thundered in my ears. They're going to hate me for this. Mark shook his head. No, they'll fear you. There's a difference. But the backlash came fast. At 2 a.m., my phone lit up again. this time with furious calls from Diane. I let it ring, but Mark pressed speaker and answered calmly. Julia. My mother's voice sliced through the silence. What the hell is this video? Do you have any idea what you've done to this family's reputation? My throat tightened, but Mark spoke first. His voice was steady, cold. Your reputation? You mean the one built on humiliating your own daughter? You did this, Diane. Julia just stopped covering it up. There was a pause, her breath ragged, on the other end. Then came her venom. You ungrateful, after everything we've done for you. Something inside me snapped. Everything you've done for me? I cut in, my voice shaking but loud. You've never celebrated me. Not once. Every achievement, every milestone, it was always about Ryan. And now, on my anniversary, you couldn't even fake a text? Instead, you send me the bill? The silence was deafening. Finally, she hissed. You'll regret this, Julia. Mark ended the call before I could reply. His hand brushed mine. No, Diane. The only people regretting anything tonight are you and Ryan. By morning, the video had racked up hundreds of thousands of views. Ryan's face was plastered across gossip blogs with headlines like, Golden Boy's launch party funded by sister's wallet. At work, co-workers who once barely noticed me now looked at me with wide eyes. Some whispered, some smiled sympathetically, but one thing was clear. My family's secret was out. Ryan called that afternoon. His voice shook with rage. Julia, you've ruined me. Do you know how many sponsors pulled out this morning? I had contracts lined up. Gone. My grip on the phone tightened, but I kept my tone calm. Welcome to my world, Ryan, where nothing you do is ever enough, and no one sees your worth unless you pay for it yourself. He cursed, his voice cracking. You think you're better than me now? I don't need to think it, I replied quietly. I just stopped letting you all bleed me dry. When I hung up, I saw Mark watching me. Pride flickered in his eyes. That, he said softly, is the sound of you taking your power back. But even as relief washed over me, I couldn't shake the tremor in my chest. The war with my family wasn't over. It had only just begun, and deep down I knew. Diane would never forgive. She would strike back. The morning after the video went viral, the silence in our house felt unnatural, like the calm before a storm. I poured coffee into a mug, hands trembling as the liquid sloshed over the rim. My phone buzzed nonstop on the counter, calls from unknown numbers, texts from concerned relatives, reporters sniffing for a quote. Mark walked in, his tie half knotted, expression grim. They're not going to let this die quietly, he muttered. He was right. At 9 a.m. sharp, a black SUV pulled into our driveway. My heart froze when the door opened and Diane stepped out, heels clicking against the concrete like gunshots. She was dressed immaculately, as if this was just another board meeting, not a family meltdown. Ryan trailed behind her, his face pale and drawn. Mark glanced at me. Ready? I wasn't, but I nodded anyway. The doorbell rang like a warning. Siren. Mark opened it, stepping aside with that same calm defiance. Diane swept in without waiting to be invited, her perfume sharp and suffocating. Ryan lingered near the doorway, eyes darting around like a trapped animal. You've embarrassed us, Diane snapped, throwing her designer bag onto the couch. Julia, do you have any idea how many people have called me since that ridiculous video? Investors, family friends, your aunt in Florida. Do you think this makes you look strong? No, it makes you look petty. Her words stung, but before I could answer, Mark stepped forward. Petty is stealing from your own daughter on her anniversary and expecting her to smile about it. Diane's eyes flashed. Stay out of this, Mark. This is family business. I felt something inside me break. He is family, I said, my voice shaking with fury. More family than you've ever been. Do you even realize what you've done to me over the years? Every time I tried to matter, you pushed me aside for Ryan. Every success, every milestone, you erased me. And now, when I'm finally happy, when I finally have something that's mine, you still found a way to take it. Ryan's voice cracked as he finally spoke. Julia, you don't understand the pressure I'm under. That party wasn't just for me. It was for the company launch. If I failed, we all would have looked bad. I turned to him, my chest heaving. We? No, Ryan. You mean you. You've always believed the world revolves around you, and Mom let it happen. Diane slammed her hand against the counter. Enough. You're destroying this family, Julia. Delete that video. Now. Mark's voice cut through the tension, calm but razor sharp. The video stays. The world saw the truth, and no amount of threats will erase it. Her face hardened, her lipstick-slicked mouth pulling into a thin line. If you think you can stand against us, you're mistaken. We built this family's reputation. Without us, you're nothing. My vision blurred with tears, but I refused to break. Without you, I whispered, I finally feel free. Diane blinked, stunned into silence for the first time. Ryan stepped forward, desperation etched across his face. Julia, please, just take it down. My sponsors, my career, it's all falling apart. You don't know what it's like to have everything riding on you. I let out a bitter laugh. Don't I? I've carried this family on my back for years. Every time you failed, guess who paid? Me. And now you want sympathy? No, Ryan, not anymore. The room crackled with silence. Finally, Diane straightened her blazer, her mask of control snapping back into place. You'll regret this decision. Both of you. She turned sharply, heels clicking as she stormed toward the door. Ryan followed. His shoulders slumped, eyes filled with something that looked dangerously close to hatred. The moment the door slammed shut, my legs buckled. Mark caught me before I hit the floor, his arms wrapping around me tight. You did it, he whispered against my hair. You finally stood up to them. But I couldn't shake the chill that crawled down my spine. Diane's voice echoed in, my head like a curse. You'll regret this. That night, Mark and I sat together on the couch, watching the fallout unfold online. Ryan's company was trending, for all the wrong reasons. Headlines screamed betrayal, sponsors pulled out, and public sympathy swarmed around me. For the first time in years, people were actually seeing me. But beneath the relief, fear gnawed at my stomach. My mother wasn't the type to lose quietly. Mark squeezed my hand, sensing my thoughts. They can't hurt you anymore, Julia. Not while I'm here. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe this war was over. But deep down, I knew the battle had only shifted. Diane and Ryan wouldn't crawl away in shame. They'd come back swinging, and when they did, the real test of strength would begin. The next week felt like living inside a storm. Every morning, new headlines tore into Ryan's launch, dissecting the video Mark had posted. Sponsors dropped him, investors backed out, and whispers about fraud and family exploitation spread through every corner of the internet. But it wasn't just the public. The pressure built inside the Bennett family like a ticking bomb. 3 nights later, Diane showed up again. No SUV this time. She came alone, standing on my porch in the dark, her silhouette sharp under the porch light. My pulse raced as I opened the door. Julia, she said, her voice low, controlled. We need to talk. Mark moved beside me instantly. Protective, but she raised a hand. Just us, mother and daughter. Something in her tone made me nod. Against Mark's protests, I stepped outside, closing the door softly behind me. The night air was cold, biting against my skin. Diane's eyes locked onto mine, hard, calculating, but with a glimmer I hadn't seen before. Was it fear? You've ruined everything, she whispered. Ryan can't show his face without people spitting his name. My phone doesn't stop ringing. You humiliated us in front of the world. I clenched my jaw. You humiliated me for years. I finally showed people what you really are. Her lips pressed tight. Then she leaned closer, her perfume suffocating. Take it down, Julia. End this before there's no going back. You're still my daughter. Don't destroy this family completely. For a moment, the little girl in me wanted to fold, to beg for her approval. But that little girl was gone. I met her eyes and said the words I never thought I'd have the courage to say. There was never a family to destroy. You made sure of that a long time ago. Her face went white. For once, Diane Bennett had no retort. She turned sharply and walked down the steps, disappearing into the night without another word. Inside, Mark pulled me into his arms. What did she say? That it's over, I whispered. But I think she finally knows she can't control me anymore. The next morning, I woke to something I hadn't expected. Silence. No calls, no texts, no venomous messages. Instead, news outlets had shifted their coverage. Ryan had announced he was stepping down from his company to focus on personal matters. The empire Diane tried so hard to build around him had collapsed. But something else happened too. For the first time, I wasn't in the shadows of my family's story. People started reaching out, not with pity, but with respect. Old co-workers messaged me, saying they'd always admired my strength. Neighbors smiled and offered kind words. Strangers online called me brave for standing up. That night, Mark opened a bottle of champagne, the one I'd saved for years but never dared to uncork. He poured 2 glasses and handed me one. To us, he said, his eyes warm but fierce. Hesitated, staring at the bubbles rising in my glass. Do you think it's really over? Mark leaned closer, his hand brushing mine. It's not about them anymore, Julia. It's about you. You took your power back. They can't touch that. Something in me shifted then. Something deeper than revenge. For years I had craved their approval, begged for their love, bent myself into shapes that would never fit. But standing here, glass in hand, husband at my side, I realized I didn't need their validation. I had built a life without them. And for the first time, I actually believed I deserved it. I lifted my glass, meeting Mark's eyes. To freedom, I whispered. We clinked glasses, the sound sharp, final, like a door slamming shut on the past. Later that night, Mark posted one last video, not of Diane, not of Ryan, but of us. A simple clip of our anniversary dinner at home, laughing over takeout, smiling at each other across the table. The caption read, "Sometimes happiness isn't found in what you're given, it's found in what you refuse to lose." The video went viral again, but this time not as scandal, as inspiration. Thousands of people commented, sharing their own stories of breaking free from toxic families, of choosing their own path. And as I scrolled through them, tears blurring my vision, I realized the truth. My revenge hadn't been the video or the public humiliation or even Ryan's downfall. The real revenge was living freely, without them, without their control, and finally, without the weight of needing their love. For the first time in my life, I felt untouchable.